Good evening.
Okay, I believe you guys can all hear me.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Okay, that's good. So, in today's class, we'll be talking about modules. Okay, we'll be talking about modules, right? But before we go into today's topic, all right, I just want to take about 30 minutes of our time, talk about OOP again, because I have this complaint that the class was not really followed or understood. Okay, so it will be a brief and very quick revision class. Okay, so it will be about 10 to sorry, it will be about 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll be done with that, and then we go ahead and go in for what we have today. Okay, so in our last class we talked about OOP. Okay, we talked about OOP. Let me go ahead and share my entire screen. We talked about OOP, all right? And I said that OOP in that class. I said that OOP is that when we hear of OOP, it simply means writing our programs using classes, attributes, and functions. Okay, all right. So okay, don't worry, I'll drop the slide for the OOP after this class, right? So and this slide as well. Okay, so we made mention of objects, and like I said, we've actually used objects severally in our Python code. Okay, we've been using objects, just that we never knew that was an object. Okay, I'm trying to bring up my Python ideally. So give me a few minutes. So we've been using objects in our Python codes. We've been using objects in our Python codes. Can't search for that. What's going on? Give me a few minutes. Give me a few minutes. Guys, please. I'm trying to bring up my Python ideally, and it's not coming up. Okay. Sorry, I'm back. I don't know. I've been trying to bring up. I've been trying to bring up my Python ideally. It's not coming up. But I think in today's class I'll be using an online compiler. My Python ideally is not coming up. Python ideally not coming up. So all right. So like I said, we've been using objects in our code, right? Before now, just that we never knew what an object was. Okay. So let's say if we do something like this, all right, I hope you guys can at least see this online compiler, right? Like I believe this compiler is visible enough.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know why my compiler is not coming up. Sorry, but so we just use this one for today's class. Okay, so let's assume that let's assume
Can
that
you change the this thing to black?
okay, okay, let me see if I can do that. All right, so let me see. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can do that. Okay. Okay, yeah, better. Okay, I think this better, right? This way is better, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So please, sorry for any inconvenience, please. I'm really sorry. So like I said, we've been using objects in our code, right? Since the beginning of this class of this CodeCamp, okay? Just that we never knew it was an object, okay? So if let's say we have something like this, all right? I'll just go ahead and put x equals to 1, okay? I say x equals to, right, let's say certain strings, okay? And I say something like this, and I do something like a def of let's say name, okay? A def of name, go ahead and say return hello, all right? Hello, okay? All right, so if there's a function we used once in our class, the type function, okay, that return a type of a value, okay. Let's say if you do type of x, all right, it returns what type of value is stored in x, all right. And if you do type of s, it returns what type of value and what type of value is stored in x, all right. So if I go ahead and do something like this, all right, if I go ahead and do type of if I go ahead and say, okay, let me just print this out. If I go ahead and print type, if I go ahead and print type of x, right? Then just go ahead and print type of x, right? Oh, I'm trying to say that, sorry. And run this. Now we see this. Now we see a return in angle bracket that says class of int. Okay. Now if I do for type of s, okay, and run this, we see a class of string. Okay. Same thing happens if I do for if I go ahead and same thing happens if I do for the function there. Okay, that function name, all right, and then I run this. Okay, I see class of functions. Okay, all right. So now, no, people have actually been ignoring this class. All right. So now, what that means is that this function here, name of function, this function here, name, okay, is a type of, so and what it means that this function that we typed here is actually an object of a class function. Okay, same thing here, same thing if I say type of x, all right, type of x and it returns class of int, it means that x is an object. This, all right, this is an object of a class int, okay, of a class int. If you see there, right? Same thing with s. If I do s, okay, and I run this again, we have that s is also an object of a class string. Okay. So now, if we, let's say, so now with this now, okay, with this now we can see that literally everything in Python is an object of its own kind. Okay, of its own kind of class. Okay, okay, and these are basically an inbuilt classes. Okay, so these are basically an inbuilt classes. Okay, so now when we create something in Python, okay, what we're actually doing is we are creating an object, okay, which is an instance of a particular class. Okay, so now what we did here, right, what we did here, x equals to 1, it means that we are creating an object here, okay, which is an instance of a class int. All right, same thing here when we did s equals to string of savior. All right, what it means that we are creating an object which is an instance of a class s. Okay, that's where and these classes, okay, these classes which this object belongs to, okay, defines the way each of them interacts with other things in our program. Okay, like the class of int, all right, and the class of s, a class of int and a class of string, all right, and as well as a class of function. All right, so now if I go ahead, if I come here, okay, if I come here and say print s x plus x plus s, okay? So go ahead and say x plus s, all right, and execute this. Now, we should expect an error, right? Now, we have unsupported operand for plus, int, and extra, meaning that, okay, each of these belongs to their separate classes, all right? And within these classes are functions, all right, that defines the way they work, okay? And in the int class, there's no function that says you can add this class with another class, okay? And the same thing with a string class. There's no function or there's no method within that class that says that you can add the string class, the string class, yes, with an integer class, okay? There's no function that supports that, okay? So now, but if you come here and we say x plus 3, all right, and execute this, all right, that works, all right, because there are methods, okay? There are things within these things that actually defines the way these things work, okay? All right, so this is basically creating an object, okay? So now now remember, when I say x equals to 1, it means I'm creating an instance of an object, of an int object, okay? And a value of that object is 1. Same thing that happens there. I'm creating an instance of a string object, okay? And that object value is equals to savior, and what s does here is just reference where that object is being stored, okay? Same thing with this function as well, all right? So now basically everything in Python are all objects, okay? When we do something like this, we do any of this, okay, we're actually creating an object in Python, okay? So now I also said that this object belongs to their own classes, and these classes defines the way or defines operation that can be performed on them, okay? An instance is, this is a string, okay? A string object that belongs to the class of string, okay? That this thing belongs to the class of string. So now if I come here and say, print, if I come here and say print, let's say another string of hello here, right? I say print hello dot upper, okay? Dot upper, all right? Dot upper. I believe you guys can see that dot upper, okay? Now we already know that dot upper is a method that works with strings, okay? Dot upper is a method that works with string, and we know what that does, okay? It transforms the string to uppercases, okay? So if I execute this, we have hello in uppercases, all right? But I cannot come here and say something like this. I can't come here and say 2 dot upper, okay? If I execute this, there's an invalid syntax. It means that this upper, okay, is a method. The upper is a method in the string class, okay, in the string class that only functions or works on a string object, okay? So this here is an integer object, so that this method does not support such a class, okay? That's why this did not work. When we run this, we have invalid syntax, right? But if this was to be a string, okay, if this was to be a string of hi, okay, and we execute this, it will actually works, okay? It works. It converts that hi to uppercase. That's because this dot upper is a method in the string class, okay, that works only on a string object, and this is a string object. So I can as well do s dot upper here and execute this, and this returns save your all in uppercases, all right? So now OOP now actually allowed us now to create our own class, okay? Our own class with our own method, okay? With our own method that suits us, okay? That's so that when an object, okay, is being created, an object that belongs to our class, okay, that we can also perform methods such as upper, okay, on our own object, okay? That's basically what OOP is all about. It's creating your own class, okay, so that when an object is created or is instantiated from your class, okay, this method you can actually apply this method to that object, okay? Because already this string, integer, and function are already inbuilt Python classes, okay? So now we want to build our own class, all right? Okay, we want to build our own class. So let's say I remember in the class, remember how we create a class, okay? We use the keyword class. We use the class keyword, okay? We use the class keyword, all right? We use the class keyword to build our own class, and then followed by the name of that class, followed by the name of the class, followed by the name of the class. So let's say we have, what's going on? Okay. Sorry, let me go ahead and refresh this page. There's a problem with online compiler. It just freeze and leave you. Okay. So I said in our last class, in order to create a class, we use the keyword class. Okay. So if I go and put a class here now, followed by our class name. All right. Followed by our class name. Now, let's assume you want to create a class of dogs. Okay. Of dog. All right. We want to create a class of dog. Okay. Right, and then in this class we want to specify our own method, unlike the string class that has the dot upper method. Right, so now we want to specify our own method so that this method can be applied to objects that belongs to our class. Right, so now to create method in OOP, we use a function. All right, we use a function. All right, and then this method, this function that I want our class to have is the back method, right? Back method, all right? And then this function takes in an argument called self, right? A self argument, right? And then what do you want to happen, right? When this method, okay, what do we want to be done or to happen when this method is being applied to an object from our class? We want this to print back. Okay, want this to print back. All right, want to print back with exclamation there. All right, okay. Right. So now what this means now is that we have now created our own class. Okay, our own kind of class. All right, with that means that that we've now created our own kind of class with the name dog. Okay, and now we have now given this class a method. Okay, that's a method that when it's been applied to any object from a class, Python will actually execute this method which we have defined. Okay, so now okay, so now this is just a this is a basic example. Okay, so now remember I said that in order to create objects, right, when we do something like this in Python, okay, I said that this is actually creating an object, okay, of a class of integer, right? This here means that we created an object, right, with a class of integer, all right, with a value of 1. Okay, so now we are going to do the same thing for our own class, all right? So now how do we actually create object now for our class? Now that we, okay, for instance, the int built-in int class, okay, this is how it's been done. X equals 1, and this actually means we have actually created an object, okay, of a class int, all right, and that object holds a value 1, right? So now to do that with our own class, we do the same thing, all right? A variable name, let's say ours now will be y, all right, equals to right. So now how do we actually create our own object? We call the class name. We call the class name. That's how we do it when you're building your own custom class. You call your class name, right? So now dog, all right, dog, all right, and then with that parenthesis there, okay, and with that parenthesis there. Okay, so now what happens now is that here we have now created an object for our class, right? So now if I go ahead and say type, if I go ahead and put type of this, if I go ahead and put type of y, all right, because and then we'll go ahead and put type of x, all right. Let's see what happens. Sorry, I'm trying to save this. I'm thinking that I'm working from. So now, it's good for us. It's not executing. No. So I'll cut this, I'll refresh this page again. And press this and then execute this. It's not executing. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. It shouldn't execute. So let's print this out. Let's print this out so that we see. Let's print this out. Okay. So now, and then we run this. Okay. Now we get to say two classes. All right. The first class is an inbuilt Python class called the int class, because here you have the class keyword there that says that type of object there is an object of an int class, right? So same thing with ours, the Y here, right? It says class of underscore main dot dog. All right. What that means is that our dog is now a class. All right. That's why is not an object of our class dog. Okay. Why we are having underscore main there is because Python is telling us what module or where is this class being defined. Okay, so by default, this module is always called the main module. All right, so that's why we're having here. Okay, that's why we're having this main there. Okay, that's because by default, the module that we are actually using to create this class is called the main module. Okay, so now I believe we've all followed up to that point, right? So now we can go ahead. All right, now we can go ahead and actually execute our function. Okay, unlike the string function, unlike the string method. Okay, so now we can actually go ahead and execute our method. Okay, so now I'll change this to a string. Okay, oh sorry, I'll change this to a string of savior again. Okay, I'll change it to a string of savior again. Okay, and then so now we have two objects there. All right, we have two objects there, the X object and the Y object, and then we printed this out, and it gave us that the first object is from the class is an object of a class int, and then the second object there is an object of a class dog, and that is our user defined, or should I say a custom class. Okay, so now just like string having their own method. All right, so now if I go ahead and say and print out again, if I go ahead and print X, all right, being a class of string, all right, X dot upper. Okay, X dot upper. All right, and then I execute this. All right, now let me go ahead and comment on this. Let me go ahead and execute this. All right, now we have this dot upper working. All right, because this upper is a method in the string class. All right, so now we have defined our method. Okay, we defined our method here. Okay, so now we can as well go ahead and run our own method on our own object. So now we can say y dot back. All right, but that's actually our method there. All right, and then we say sorry, this is an online compiler, and then that saves automatically. All right, so if I execute this, now we have savior and back, that back being an object in our class. Okay, I do not understand up to that point. Let me see your hand. Okay, so I believe everyone has followed up to that point, right? So now we use something again in our class. All right, we do something like int. All right, we do something like this in our last class, a def of underscore init. All right, underscore, and I say that any function, all right, defined within a class, okay, must carry this sub argument there. Okay, so now because this init is also a function as well, so now this init, now what happened here is this function, I said it before, don't worry, I'll come in and fill it up, and I said that in a function you can use you can actually define a function and then leave it empty. Okay, so I'll come back and fill that. So I'll go ahead and execute this, and then we see nothing changes, nothing happens. Okay, I said that this function here, all right, is a special kind of method. Okay, is special to Python. Okay, because this function allows us to instantiate an object right when it is created. All right, this method and also allow us to so now what is happening is that I said once that once Python execute this code line by line and gets to here, all right, so that's this method here will automatically execute. Okay, it will automatically execute. Okay, so to prove that, all right, to prove that, I'll just go ahead and say print. All right, I'll go ahead and say print. I executed automatically. Okay, automatically. All right, so now see what happens. All right, I'll comment on this. I won't print any of this out. Okay, I won't print any of this out. Okay, I won't print any of this out. But look at what happened the moment I execute this code. This line is this line here actually is executed. I executed automatically. That's because I said that this function is a special function that gets executed immediately once this object is being created. Once we create this object, that here understand automatically gets executed. Okay, so now you might be wondering, okay, what do we use this function for? Okay, why do we even need this function? Okay, so now we can actually use this function, okay, to get arguments to our method. Like we can use it to get to pass information to our classes, and then use this, okay, to there, and then use this to our own liking. Okay, so let's assume that this our function, okay, will take in a name of the dog. All right, we'll take in a name argument. Okay, now remember, in all our that functions can take as many arguments as possible. Okay, but functions with inside a classes, all right, must always start with the self argument. Okay, so now we want this function here that get executed automatically to get data from a user, meaning that each time a user try to call our class, that user should pass in information so that we can use it in our class, right? Okay, so now I can come here and say, let this class take the name variable. Okay, so now let's see what happens. All right, see what happens. I go ahead and print this, and then I'll print name. All right, this argument that we are going to get, all right, inside that function. I'll just go ahead and print this. All right, so now if I execute this without actually passing any information, see what happens. We have an error saying that this expected one required positional argument name. Okay, so now meaning that each time we try to create our class object, okay, we have to pass in information or argument to that dog. Unlike the list method, if you could remember this method, the index method. Okay, now remember that this method takes in an argument. Okay, you cannot use this method without an argument, right? So that same thing is happening here with our class, right? We want a situation that when a user tries to call our class or create an object as from our class, that user need to pass in an information, and that information would be a name. Okay, so now if I go ahead and pass in information here and call this Samuel, all right, Samuel. Okay, I call it Samuel, and then I execute this. Right, see what happens. Right, now this argument automatically get passed to this function. Okay, because this function get executed each time we create an object of our class. Okay, so meaning that we can get this, meaning that we can get these variables automatically. Okay, so now, and I said in our last class that we mainly use this function to set attributes. Okay, to set attributes. What does that mean? Okay, to set attributes. Okay, what it means is that, okay, so now I want to get this argument, and then I want to save it and then use it in my maybe within my class. Okay, so now what I would do is self dot name equals to name. Okay, this name is not and this name could be something else, but we're actually referring to this name here. Okay, that's why we put this name here. But this other name, okay, could be something else. Okay, she could be A. Okay, it could be A there, right? So now each time a user creates an object from our class, okay, it is required that user must pass in an argument, and that argument would be a name argument, right? Okay, and then I said that this function gets executed automatically when we create an object out of our class, right? So now from here, now we can actually grab this data here and then save it in a variable called A. All right. So now while you're using self here, self is referencing to this particular instance, like at this instance. Okay, it has a reference to this particular instance. All right. What that means is if I come here and say z equals to doc, okay, I'm calling our class again, and I go ahead and put in another name like Shelby. Okay, Shelby, and then I execute this, and then I execute this. Right? Okay, let's see what happens, and then I'll go ahead. All right. So, all right, what happens is that this information has been captured by this function, okay, automatically, and have been saved to this variable, okay, and has been saved to this variable here, right? So now in our function, I can go ahead and create another method, all right, called, maybe you can say speak, all right, and another method called speak, all right. And remember, each function we create within a class takes the self argument, takes in the self argument, and then I can go ahead and say, all right, print, okay, go ahead and print my name is, okay, but since this is a string, we can go ahead and concatenate them. Okay, my name is, and then I'll give a space here, and then put in self, okay, dot name, right? Okay, I can go ahead and put in self dot name there. Okay, so now if I execute this, nothing happens, right? Nothing still happens. So now if I come down here and I say why, remember, we want to apply a method from our class to that object. So now why is not referencing that this object here of our class. So now our class has two methods there, the back method and the speak method, but I'll go ahead and execute the speak method on our object. Okay, and then if I execute this, okay, let's see what's going on there. Say that line 9 has no attribute name. Okay, so sorry, this function too has to take an argument of name. Okay, an argument of name. All right, an argument of name, and we execute this. We execute this and see what happens. Okay, all right. So sorry, the mistake is not from there. The mistake is from here. The mistake is from here. It's not self.name, okay, it's self.a, because it is a that we use as a variable within this class. Okay, so if I go ahead and execute this again, let's see, we have that my name is Samuel. Okay, so now each time we call this class, we pass in an argument, right? And this argument will be captured by this function, right? And then we save this argument here as a variable a, right? And then within our class here, we can use that variable to do whatever we want. Okay, so now we've just used one of that variables of name of save of a here, okay, and perform a method of speak that says my name is, then the argument being passed in, right? So now what save actually does is referencing, or should I say pointing to the actual instance, or like to the point which this was actually executed. Okay, sorry, which this is actually pointing to the point which this object was created. Meaning that if I come here and say y, okay, of doc, y dot speak as well. Okay, if I perform this here, okay, if I perform this here, we shall have my name is Samuel. My name is Samuel. Okay, So we should use Y, we should use Z, not Y, okay? So now if I execute this, we have my name is Samuel, my name is Shelby, all right? But we passed in two different arguments here, right? Which actually the last one should override this one, right? But it doesn't. That's because of this self, right? This self will actually reference this instance here and then hold that instance, okay? And can now reference this particular instance, meaning that we can have many instances or many objects of classes, all right? And then we can actually make changes to one instance and it doesn't affect the other instance, okay? That's what the self does. It references those instances, all right? So now that's why we are able to have Samuel and Shelby without with the Shelby not overwriting the name of the first object there, okay? So that's what that self does there. So now with this, we've created our class, we've passed information to our class, and then we perform a method from our class to our class object, okay? So now another thing is we talked about that day. Another thing we talked about in our previous class was inheritance, okay? Was inheritance, all right? So now remember I said before we can inherit, we have to have two classes, right? One class is a parent class and the other class is a child class, right? So now if you look at this class now, we will take the dog class as we take this dog class as a parent class, and then we create another class here, right? Another class here, and we call this other one a cat, all right? Cat class, right? We call this other one a cat class, and now we know that a cat can speak. Let's assume a cat can speak as well, right? So as a programmer, it won't really make sense to copy this method down here, right? To copy this method from the dog to down to the class, to the cat class, right? So what we can do is we can actually inherit all this method and variables there here, right? And then use the one we want, and then probably the one we don't, I can actually override them, okay? So how do you actually inherit a class? When we create a new class, we open a parenthesis, and then within this parenthesis is a class we want to inherit from, right? So I go ahead and inherit from that dog class, and then I said that once we have this, all right, once we have this in our inherited class, all right, that we cannot inherit from that class anymore because this will override everything there, all right? So now what we can do, all right? And okay, so I tried to bring up a solution in our last class, and it seems that it wasn't working, all right? It seems that it wasn't working, all right? So but this, you can use this, right? So you can use this. So now here means, remember this function we always execute, anytime we initialize or we create an object from this cat class, right? So now remember that this class and this class we'll have to take in the name as well, the cat name, and as okay, we have to take in the cat name, okay, as well. So we'll come here and put in this cat name. We've taken that cat name there, and as well as we want to add a new variable to just our own, just to the ref class, okay, just the ref class, and we can add like the color of the cat, right? So now I said that in order to still inherit from this, we need to do certain step, right? And this step is we put in super, okay, super open bracket. Don't worry, I'll explain what this means. Dot underscore init, okay, init, and then underscore again, and then within this bracket we pass in the same argument of the inherited class, right? And this inherited class has only the name arguments there, okay? So we put in the passing that name arguments there, okay? So now with this, okay, if we do this and then we save this, okay, I'm online, sorry. If we do this, we can come below outside our class and instance and create an object from the cat class, right? So you can say something like new, okay, and then we create an instance or an object from our class, okay? And how do we do that? We call the class name cat, and then and then look at this. This class takes in 2 arguments. So if we execute this, let me go ahead and comment the one under out. Okay. If we execute this, we shall have an error say that this class requires certain parameter. Okay. So if I run this, we have that two required personal argument, name and color, is missing. Okay. So now we, if we come here and then we pass in a name, or let's say a name of let's use Polly, or this time around, name of Polly, and the cat color is going to be black. Okay, and the cat color is going to be black, right? So now if I execute this, nothing happens, right? Nothing happens. That's because nothing actually happens, right? So now, but if I come here and I said that our cat will speak as well, right? Our cat will speak, all right? The thing that our cat cannot bark, all right? Our cat cannot bark. So there's no point of copying this speak. This speak looks small because it's actually small, right? Let's assume that it was a function that has over 10,000 lines of code. We have to copy the entire 10,000 lines of code down to a derived class, right? But with this, now we can actually derive that 10,000 lines of code and then perform the speak, all right, the speak method in this cat class, right? That's because the cat class has now derived all the properties from the dog class. So now if I come here, because the new now is not the object of the cat class, so that means we can perform the cat method, and currently there's no method in this cat class, right? But this class has other invisible method, which are this dog method, because it is actually inheriting from there. So I can go ahead and say new dot back, all right, new dot back. Okay, and execute this. Okay, and if I run this, we see back. Okay, but our cat should not back. All right, our cat should not back. So now what we can do is now, so here another thing that we can also run other method as speak. Okay, as speak. All right, and it says my name is Polly. All right, so now the thing is that we actually want the speak. All right, but we want the back function of the dog class to work differently in the cat class. Okay, so now what we can do is we can come here and then we say def, okay, of back. Just repeat that function name, the one in the dog class. When you do that, I remember each function must take a self. Every function within a class must take the self parameter. Okay, and then we can actually say, instead of printing back, we can go ahead and print new.
This self, is it a keyword or a variable name?
I mean the self is a placeholder. Okay, it could be anything, because it could be anything. Remember I said that in the last class that it could be anything, but we stick to convention. Okay, it's self that you will always see. Okay, it's self that you always see, so we'll just stick to the self. Okay, but it can be anything. It's not a keyword. It's not it's not a constant word. Okay, you can change it, but we stick to the convention. Okay, so now I have overwritten this other back here. Okay, I've overwritten that back now. So if I come here and perform the back again on our cat class and run this, we have new instead of back. Okay, but if I go ahead and perform this again, if I go ahead and perform this again, okay, if I go ahead and perform speak, okay, which is not in our new class, we derived it, it still work and says my name is Black. Okay, and sorry, my name is Polly. Okay, so now we can actually see. So now this here, okay, the name, the color, we didn't actually get that color. Okay, so now if I want to print this color, what I can do is, since this color is not a variable that we derive, right? So now what we can do is we can come here and say something like the same way we did for the name. We can come here and set a new variable after this super. This super means once we initialize this cat class, I want you to as well initialize, like, remember that this def runs automatically. This def init runs automatically once this class is initialized. Okay, so now what it means that once you run automatically, this super.init means bring bring all the attributes in this derived class and save it here as well. Okay, so that we can use it in this other class. All right. So now we come below that and we do our new variable again of self.color. Okay, self.color equals to color, right? Color there, right? And then we can inside this class we can write other method that we can apply with this class. The method one of that method is you could say tell color. Okay, we can say tell color, all right, like tell your color, all right? And this, remember, every function must take the self keyword, and then we now say print. Okay, go ahead and print the color, all right? So now if I come here and execute that tell color, all right, because we have that method defined in our class, and our class is the and our object that is derived from this class is the new, so we can apply the tell color on it. Tell color. Okay, and if we execute this, it says color not defined. Okay, let's see what is happening here. Okay, it's not actually color, it will be self dot color, so it can reference to that instance, to the instance of that particular instance when the object is being created. So you put that self, like we need this color, that particular color at the point this object was created. Okay, so now if I'm not offline, I'll run this again and we have black. Okay, we have black there. That class actually took more than what I expected. All right, so that is that for the OOP. Okay, but if you still don't understand, I will recommend you watch the last class videos and then the first one up of this class. Okay, I believe that you get what I believe that you understand. Okay, what I'm trying to do here. Okay, I'm trying to create our own custom class. Okay, we have inbuilt classes. We have the function class, the int class, the string class, and the float class as well. Okay, so now we have our own class here called the cat class, and as well as the dog class, and then we have written our own method, just like the string method, such as dot upper, dot lower, okay, dot index. Okay, those are methods that other classes. Now we've created as method of our own classes. Okay, and for the dog we have the back and the speak method. Then we have a class that inherits from that. All right, so that we don't have to write a method for speak again, assuming all animals speak the same language. Okay, I don't need to go and write that method again in a derived class. If I thought that method was about 10,000 lines of code, okay, that would be a waste of time, right? So I just inherit them here, and then I tell Python when I create an object from this class, run this automatically by default, which Python will do that. Then while running that and getting these arguments from the user, bring our derived class variables down here. Okay, and method, their variables and functions down here, so that we can use it. That's what it means. And then this one is a variable that's only unique to this class. Okay, so that's why we are saving it here. Okay, this color does not come from this other variable, but the name comes from this other variable. Okay, comes from that as well. So that is that for the OOP. Okay, and I believe there's no question. Okay, I believe there's no question with that. Please, if there's a question, I would recommend you ask so you can start so you can go ahead with today's class modules. Okay, so you go ahead with today's class modules. It's going to be a simple and straightforward class. Okay, nothing much. That's why I have to bring in that class first and then these modules, right? It's going to be quick and easy. Just 6 topics that it's going to be very easy. Okay, so is there question with the OOP? No question? Okay, so welcome again to today's class. Right, we're about to start today's class officially. Okay, so welcome to today's class again. All right, so in today's class we'll be talking about modules. All right, in today's class we'll be talking about modules. All right, and we'll be covering this. in this class. We're covering this in this class. How to create a module, how to use it, how to rename it, and how to use an inbuilt functions. Okay. So let me take something. Okay. I'm still trying to bring up my ideally, it's not working. Okay, so we still use the online. Okay, so what is a module? All right, what is modules in Python? Okay, so modules are simply Python files. They are similar. They are just like the same files we've been creating so far for the beginning of the class till now. Okay, any file that ends with .py, not just any file. Okay, that contains Python code. Okay, that can be imported inside another Python file, that's program. Okay, is considered as a module. Okay, you can also see it as libraries. Okay, as Python libraries. Okay, just say libraries are like a additional functionality that helps us to write our code quick and easy. Okay, all right. So now you can say that it is a file containing Python definition and statements. Okay, that means it can contain functions, classes, even variables. Okay, so now how do you actually create this model? Okay, I wish I can create it for you, but my Python is not coming up. Okay, let me use my Oh, I have VS Code. We use VS Code. Okay, so problem is I have to run this code from our terminal. That's the problem with VLC. Sorry, with this Visual Code. Okay, so so let's say, how do we create a module in Python? We said to create a module in Python, you simply create a file with the extension of .py in your current directory, and then you put in your lines of code that you wish to work with. Okay, so I'll try and use this. I'll just clear all this up. I'll clear this out. What's going on? Not clear. Okay. Okay, so all right, so now I said that in order to create a module, okay, in order to create a module, what do? We create a file in our current directory. Okay, so I'll create a new file. And I'll save this file. All right, so now look at, I hope you can see my screen. I believe my screen is being seen very well. Okay, so now I'll go to my desktop. Right, you can go to anywhere on your, or you can go to anywhere. I'm trying to see. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and create a new folder on my desktop, and I'll call this modules. Okay, modules class. Okay, or modules lesson. Okay, let's say modules lesson then. And now inside this folder, right? Let's assume I have a file I'm working on. This file is called .main.py. All right, the main py file. That's okay. Let's say this is the file I'm working with. All right, and I have couples of code here. Like let's say I have print hello world. Okay, let's say I have print hello world here. Right, I have print hello world. Right, this is my main file. Right, now I want to create a module file. Right, now I said that module file is any file that has a .py file extension. All right, and that file is there in our current working directory. What is our current working directory? Our current working directory is, where are you, that file that you are working on now, where is it located in your laptop or in your PC? Okay, where is that file located? Okay, so this file here is located in my desktop. Okay, in the modules lesson. All right, so I'll go to desktop. Okay, my desktop in modules lesson, right? This is the file, right? So now in this directory, in this same folder, that's what it means. In this same folder, okay, you create another file. I create a new file. This file would be called, you can call it modules, okay, or my module. Let me call it my modules. Sorry, it should be another file, not a folder. Create it's a file, not a folder, okay? It's a file, not a folder. So I'll create a new file. I think it should be a text file, and I'll save this. How do I save this as? And open this file, and I'll save this file as, this file has a .py file, right? I'll save it as my modules.py, okay? It must be a .py file, and then I save. And then if I go ahead and close this for now, I will just delete this other one. Okay, so now I have my main files, as well I have my modules file. Now these files are being created in the same working directory. That's where my main file is, right? My working directory file is the same folder. We've insert that file there. Okay, so that's basically how you create a module. Okay, so now currently in our file we do not have any code, right? We do not have any code in our files, right? There's no code there in our files. So now if I try to open that file, I'll go ahead and open that file and open here. Okay, so all right, let's go. I'll just start from afresh. Okay, I'll start all over again. Okay, so let me see. So now this is my text editor, right? Or let me just go there. Let me open it. Let me create this file. Let me create this file from here at once. Okay, I'll create this file from here, right? So now I have a folder in my desktop called modules lesson folder, right? So this folder would comprise of all my Python files, right? So now to create a module, like a module file inside this folder, okay, I'll create a new file. You can create this file from your text editor. Okay, so if I go to my text editor and create new file, okay, I create a new file and then save this file, and then I will save this file, Ctrl S, all right, and then I will choose this directory, this same directory that I'm working on, and save this file called modules. Okay, modules with the same directory that I'm working with. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, as simple as that. So if I open up it's saving as text document. It shouldn't be saving as a text document. Sorry, it shouldn't be. Don't save it as a text document. I'll do that again. Okay, so I'll create a new file here, new file, right? And then I will save this file. I'll save this file as, all right, and then in the same directory that I'm working on, same directory, I will save a new file called modules, okay, .py, all right, .py. It should be a .py, okay, and then I'll save this. So now, if you've done that, then you've created your module successfully. So now, if I go back to my desktop, sorry, my modules lesson. Now look at the file here, modules files, right? The person that asked that question, that's how you create it, all right? In the same directory you are working with, same directory as. So I'll delete one of this. Okay, I'll delete one of this. Okay, so that is that. Okay, so now currently I'll open up our file. This is our main file. Okay, I'll open up the module file. Okay, there it is. I open this up. So now this is our main file and this is our module file. And our module files, we have nothing in it. All right. So now I said that these files can contain functions and variables, okay, and even classes. Okay. So now I'll write a simple function that says in our model files, greetings. Okay, this function just does greetings, and this function takes in an argument of name. Okay, and then what it does is it will print out hello from our models. Okay, hello from our models. All right. So now with that, okay, with that, we've been able to insert a function. This is a simple function inside our models files, right? So now in the main file, that function is not there, but that function is here in our models files. So now we'll continue, right? So that's how you create a module in Python. That's how you create a module in Python. So now, how do you actually use this module? Okay, how do you use this module in our file? In our main file. Okay, that in our main file. How do we use this module in our main file? So to use this module, we use the statement import. All right, the import statement. All right. So now what that does is it will bring, it's like inserting that file into our file, right? So let me show you what that means. So now if I come to our main file, this is our main file, right above. Okay, it's a good practice, but above all your code, always, if you're importing, all right, if you're importing from a module, always put the expression above all your codes. Is a good practice. Okay, so now from here I use the import statement to bring in this file, right? When I say import, all right, I can import, what am I importing? The modules, my modules, right? That's how we save it. That file, right? The file you created, the modules file. Now, remember, we don't have to put the .py because this importation is actually done inside a Python file, right? So Python already knows that this is a Python file, okay? So you don't have to put my modules.py, okay? You don't have to put that, right? Just put in the modules, the file name itself, right? So now, what this line here actually means is that it brings this whatever function, all the functions, all the variables, all the classes from our module file down to this one line. With this one line, we can access all the functions here. No matter how many functions is here, you can access them with just this one line. Okay. So now that we've imported these modules, okay, now we can actually execute function from our modules, right? So now if I go ahead and say modules, now to use a function from, right, let's go back to our slide. Now when using when you want to call a function from your module, this is the syntax: the module name dot the function name, open and close parentheses. All right. Then if you want to call a class from your module, use the module name dot class, open and close parentheses. All right. And same thing. Okay. Then when calling a variable, it will be the module name dot the variable name, no parentheses. Now know that for the function and the classes, if our module functions and classes requires an argument, when calling them, we have to specify that argument. Okay. So now if you take a look at this, okay, someone is asking what's a module. Okay, so we go back to our first slide again. Okay, I said a module is any file with dot. It's a file. Sorry, not any file. A file with .py extension. Okay, a file that contains Python code. All right, and this Python code, okay, and this Python code could be functions, classes, or even variables. Okay, that's what a module is. Okay, a module is just it's like a function, but it's not a function is basically a block of code. Okay, but a module is not just a block of code. Okay, a module can have as many functions as possible. Okay, so it's basically like a file. Okay, a collection of function, classes, and variable as well. Okay, so that's what a module is. the person that asks that question. Okay, so now we've created our module here. Okay, and in this our module file, we have a function called greeting. Okay, and this function takes in an argument. Okay, so now we've imported our module down to our main file. Remember, this module must be in the same file directory. It must be in the same file directory with your main file. All right, so now to access this function from that file, what we do is I said to access, if you are calling a variable name, this is the syntax. All right, module name dot variable. Okay, if you are calling a class name, it will be the module name dot the class name and parenthesis open and close. Within that parenthesis is we'll give an argument that if the class or the function requires an argument. Okay, same thing with the function name. Okay, so now we'll come here and then we'll come here, and so now to access this function, we do what? We write the module's name, which is my module. Okay, my modules. Okay, my modules dot. All right, now good thing about text this visual code, it will bring out all, once you do a dot, it brings out all the possible function within that module. So now we have greetings here, which is here. Okay, so I can just click here. I remember open and close of their brackets. Okay, and then this our function requires an argument. Okay, so I'll pass in the name argument there. Okay, I'll pass in the name argument there. I'll pass in that name argument there, and let me go ahead and execute this. Let's see if that works. Okay. Okay, and if you can see clearly in my seminar here, we have a hello and then hello from our modules. This is coming from these modules here. Okay, it's coming from here. All right, but so now you might be wondering why you need modules, or why do you need, because there are inbuilt Python modules, all right, which we'll get to that. Okay, now you might be wondering, why do I actually need to have my own modules? All right, so let's say that we are writing an application that's kind of like a sign-up application. Okay, that saves users name and password to your database. Okay, and then you want to add additional data, all right, to this database, so that once a user signs up, we add like a unique key. Okay, so we can write that function in our module and then import it into our main file and use it. Why would we do that? Because that additional unique key, okay, is not actually part of the actual code itself. Okay, so instead of messing up the actual code, let's say a code to get username and password. So instead of messing that up with username, password, and as well as the unique key, we can write the function of the unique key in our modules and import it here, and then use it within our main file. Okay, so now that's basically, so now this is how you can actually use your modules. Okay, so after creating your modules and putting your code, so now and putting your code, you can now come to your main file, import it, and then use it accordingly. So now let's say we have another variable here, right? It also from, let's say we have another variable here, like let's say our password, or let's say secret key. Okay, secret key, you can say secret key, and let's say this is a key that you don't really want to bring into the system, right? Or let's say a key that's just that you want outside the main file, right? So we can come here and just say dummy data there. Okay, dummy data there, and that's our secret key. Okay, and then we can come here. Remember, in order to access this, we can, as the same way, my modules, right? My modules, okay, dot, right? Now we have another thing here called secret key. That's because that's the new variable we just inserted in our module. So now if I click here and execute this code again and execute our code again, now we have hello from our, and then okay, I think this is not showing up, I don't know why. Okay, so now this is a variable, so we have to print this out. Okay, I have to print this out, so we can assume this. Okay, we can assume this to be x equals to that. All right, and then we can go ahead and print, all right, and print the X, all right. Now go ahead and print this X here. So I'll go ahead and not actually kill the terminal. Let's see. Not close panel. How do I clear this? Okay, let's see if this clear. This you can type in clear here. Okay, that's work. Okay, so if I go ahead and run this again, now we have hello from here, then our own function from that module, and then the secret key in our module file. Now you can see how our work is actually neat, all right? You can see how neat our main file is, okay? Now now we can send this file to someone, okay? Let's say that we didn't want it to expose this key. We can now send this main file to someone to analyze, okay? Now the person will only see modules.secret key, but won't actually know what is here, okay? Because this module is not on your system. Like this file now is not in your system, okay? So now you see it can help for security as well, okay? And also making your code neat, all right? So that's how you can use a module, all right? So what else can we do? We can rename our module, okay? How can we do that? How can we rename our module? So let's assume that we have a variable here. Let's assume we have a variable here, like an already made variable before now, okay? Like a predefined, a pre-existing variable before now, okay? And that variable was equals to let's say that this variable was equals to, let's say, Shelby, right? Let's just use Shelby, all right? So now if we import this, and then this name, and now maybe after this variable, we now end up having our modules that bears the same name with this variable, okay? We don't want this to contradict or cause problem, because if we execute this, all right, let's execute this and see. Now we have that this string update. Now it will write this module. Now from this point, okay, Python sees these modules as a variable, not a module again. It sees this as a variable, okay? So now we don't want this kind of problem. So this might require us to change the name, like rename our modules, okay? So now what we can do is that we can actually go back and rename this file to something else, right? Or we can use the as keyword, okay? We can use the as keyword, okay? So instead of renaming this file, we can say import my modules as, let's say, new module, okay? Let's just say new modules, right? Modules. Let's say new modules, right? Module, right? So now with this, now I don't need to rename this file, right? I can go ahead and use my modules as here, and then what I'll do here, instead of using my modules, I can now use new modules, all right? Which Python will now see this. Now Python will now see this, and will now see my module as new module, okay? So now if I clear this again, I'll go ahead and clear my terminal here again and execute this again. Now we have everything is working perfectly fine, and we still have my modules here, okay, without having that problem, okay? So it's either we use the as keyword, or we go ahead and rename this file, or better still, we just change the variable name, okay? But in situation like this, okay, that's where our module name contradicts a variable name in our file, we can rename that module name in the program using the as keyword instead of renaming the entire file itself, okay? So I believe that is understood. So now, okay, I said earlier that there are other useful there are other useful modules, built-in modules in Python, okay? There are many, there are very, very many, there are extremely, really, really many, okay? So, but this is just a few of them, all right? A few of them, few useful ones, okay? Which is random, okay? We have time, we have date, we have statistics, okay? We have math, we have a lot of them, okay, a lot of them, okay. So now, how do we actually use this inbuilt models? Okay, it's the same thing, okay. The same way we imported our own model, the same way we, excuse me, it's the same way we import inbuilt Python models, okay. So let's say we want to import the random, okay, the random model, okay. So I can do import, okay, import random, okay. Random is a module, is an inbuilt module in Python, okay. Random is an inbuilt module in Python. So now, and this random has method, okay. This random too has method in the same way our own module has method, like the greeting method, okay. This random as well have this method as well, okay. This one has this method as well, right? So now, one of its method is the run int, okay. The run int. What does the run int do? Okay, right. So I'll just go ahead and execute. I'll cut this out, okay. I think our code is getting messy, so I'll cut it out for the sake of space, okay. So now a run int is a function, is a function within the random module that takes in a pair of integers, okay, and return random numbers each time we execute them, okay. What that means is, if I say x equals to random, okay, I'm using that module now, okay. I say x equals to random dot, okay. Now I said that the good thing about Visual Studio Code, if you have your Python dependencies being installed, okay, once you perform the dot operation on any module or any function, okay, it brings out the possible the available method within that module, okay. So for the random, these are the available methods. See, there are much, really plenty, just for that random module alone, okay. So we go ahead and try this method called run int. Here it is, okay. So the way run int works is it takes in a pair of numbers, like separated by comma, and then return the number, like return random number within that range, okay. So let's say I give it, so let's say okay, someone is coming up with problem. Please, I run on my own code, and okay, I'll check that. I'll check that again. All right. So I said that the way the run method, this method works in this module is it takes in a pair of numbers separated by a comma, and then return a random number between them, okay. So if I put in 1, 10, okay, what this function will do, will return random numbers between 1 and 0, okay. This is kind of useful if you're building like a guessing game, okay, like a kind of like guessing games, okay. It's useful, right? So I'll go ahead and print x. Okay. Now see what happens. Each time I run this, it returns 1, right? If I run this again, so I'll just go ahead and clear this. If I run this again, it turns 6. You see? If I'll clear this again, okay, and then I'll run this, it turns 6 again. It's random numbers, okay. So it can repeat a particular number again. So I'll clear this again, and so it returns 10, okay. So these are useful modules, okay. So we have other modules, but before we check other one, let me check. Someone sent a message for us. Okay, the person said that when he ran my own code, this is the problem. Okay. What is the problem? I wish I can actually see the file itself. What I cannot add. Okay, the person that posted this, which text editor are you using for this Which text editor are you using?
VS Code.
VS Code. Okay.
Yes.
Do you have Python dependencies installing on with it, like the VS Code?
Python what?
Do you have Python dependencies installed with the VS Code? Meaning, can you actually execute your Python code from here without actually going to the command prompt itself?
No.
Okay, if okay, I think that's the problem. Okay, that's the problem. And VS Code can actually execute that. Alright. Do you have ideally Python ideally? Do you have it?
Yes.
Okay, try executing this code from your Python ideally. Okay, try executing it from your Python ideally, and let me know if you still have the same error. Okay. Okay, so that about this random models. Okay, there are other words. Okay, there are other methods within this model. Okay, there are other method within this model. All right. Okay, so there's another one that is called choice method. Okay, the way the choice method works. This one takes pair of numbers. All right. There's another method called choice method. Okay. You guys can actually check up all this stuff on your free time, okay? Because they're actually much, so we can actually look at all of them, okay? So now another one we can do is the choice method, and the way the choice method works, it takes in lists, okay? It takes in list, all right? It takes in list and then return a random element from that list, okay? So we say we have list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, okay? We have that list there, okay? Go ahead and save this and execute this. So I'll play my terminal, okay? Play my terminal and execute this, right? It returns 2 from that list. If I clear this terminal again, and run this, it turns 3, okay? This happens in a random order, okay? Random order, not sequentially. It turns 5, okay? But if I click it again and run another one last time, it returns 3 again, okay? So it can repeat it can repeat each element, okay? But what happens is it runs a random number, like it returns a random element in that list, okay? So there are functions within this random modules, okay? Just the same thing we are doing here, okay? That our own also takes, okay, now this function here takes in list, all right? Our own function here takes in a string of name, okay? It takes string names, okay? So it's the same thing, okay? The same thing, okay? So that's our custom built, and this is the inbuilt, okay? Now let's say another one. All right, we have time and we have date time. We have time and we have date time modules. Okay, so we will take just one more of this inbuilt. Okay, we take one more of the inbuilt, and then we see how that works. So we'll take the, let's say we'll take statistics. Okay, let's use statistics. Let's see stats, what stats does for us. Okay, let's see what stats does for us. So import another one. So you can have as many imports as possible. So you can bring in as many modules as possible. Okay, can bring in. So now I'll bring in statistics. Okay, it's already there. My editor has let me know that statistics do exist, and you can see it's kind of dim. That's because I'm not actually used it yet. Okay, I'm not used to it yet in the code. Okay, that's why it's dim. I think the thanks to VS Code for that one. So that the way in statistics works. Okay, statistics has mathematical, not actually mathematical, statistical functions, okay, like the mean, the mode, the median, all those stuff, standard derivation, standard deviation, all those statistical terms, okay. Most of those methods, okay, are found in the statistics modules. Okay, so now I'll just run the mean method, and you know that what mean does, mean return the average of numbers. Okay, so in statistics, if we have something like 1, okay, plus 4 plus 7 plus anything, okay, plus 3 plus 8 plus Okay, I think I put in wrong there. Plus 23 plus any. Okay, we just stick with that one. Okay, we have one. If you have 1 plus 4 plus 7 plus 23 plus 5, all right, to get the mean of this, right, to get the mean of this number, right, what we will do is to sum this whole thing and divide it by total number of elements, right? So let's say, okay, let's see, okay, let's see. So I'll say that x is equals to, no, not x, because x already, I'll say sum, but sum is the keyword. So I'll use the uppercase sum, all right? Sum is equals to, I think it has to affect here. So let's use, okay, let's use y. Let's use y as a variable. I'm running out of names. I don't know. So and the way y works, all right, this will sum this whole stuff, right? And then to have the mean, to have the mean being the average, right? Average will be y divided by this, by how many numbers are here? How many elements are here? We have 67, we have 23, we have 7, we have 4, we have 1. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to have the mean of that, sorry, yes, to have the mean of that, and what we do is the sum of that divided by 5, right? So that if I go ahead and print our average. Okay, if we go ahead and print our average, let's clear this terminal again. If we go ahead and print our average, let's see what we have. We have 20.4. Leave this other 4 is this other random, so I'll just comment this out for now. Then I'll clear the terminal. Okay, I'll clear this terminal. So now I run this. Okay, I run this. Then we have 20.4, right? But this, see how long this takes, right? It takes a lot of time. We have this method in our we have this method within the mean method within this statistics module, right? So now what we will do is, instead of doing this, right? So we just, since Python has made life easier for us, we will say we have list 1. Let's say list 1, because the way the mean works, the mean takes list of numbers, okay, list of numbers. So we have L is equals to 1. We just put in our number again, 14,7, 23, 67. Okay, so now we will now go ahead and we will perform this. We will perform prints. Okay, we have statistics, right? We bring in our module. Remember, that's how we call it, statistics dot what. Now if you've seen all these modules, okay, under the stats, sorry, all these functions method under the stats, right? So we need this mean, we need the mean. So I'll just click that mean, and the way the mean works, it takes in list of argument. And if you look at this, it even shows us the our VS Code even shows us how we can use this. Okay, how you can actually use it. It shows that it takes in list of numbers. Okay, so our list there is list 1. Okay, so now we should have the same value as this one, right? So let's see if Python actually does a good math for us. So we clear the terminal. Let's clear the terminal, and then I'll execute this, and then we have the same thing. See, we just did that in 2 lines. Okay, we just did that in 2 lines, and look at this. Okay, this we did it manually. Okay, so let's say that we have over 10,000 numbers here, right? We have to do this, and it takes a longer time, right? But see, with this dot mean, and we are up and running. Okay, so there are other modules, and inside those modules we have method. Okay, we have method, right? So in your spare time, you can just check up other modules and see how to use them. Okay, you see how to use them. Okay, so another important thing is the dir keyword. All right, the dir. I'll show you what that does. I'll show you just what that does in a bit. Okay, so now, as this returns a list of function names or variables in a module. Okay, I believe the person has now fixed the problem. Okay, that's good. There's no error. Okay, that's good. So now the dir function, okay, returns a list of function names within a module. Okay, So now, if you look at this, we have if you do random, if you do dir of random, what it return all the method within that module. Okay, it return all the method within this module, right? So let's see, and it return this in a list. Okay, so let's say let's say that you want to pick up one module here, okay, and check how many functions are here. Like, what can this module do? Okay, possible things this module can do. Okay, possible thing this module can do. So what you can use the dir keyword. Okay, so now I'll just comment this out. I'll take it out, all of them. Okay, so I'll just take this out as well. So what I will do is I will go ahead and I will print. Okay, I want to print. Sorry, I want to print. What am I printing? I want to print the dir of what? Of what modules, right? What modules do I have to print? I want to print. I want to check how many methods are there in the random module. Okay, if I save this and execute this, I'll claim my terminal and execute this. Now you see it's, I don't know, kind of messy. Let me see this up. Okay, maybe you guys can see that. Now you've seen it returns a long list. See the list start from here and ends here. So now the random module has all this method, the BF method, which most of them haven't actually used them. I don't even know how they work. Okay, but let us say with over time we will get to use them along our career. Okay, need my rights, and we have to and discover. Okay, there's no law that says that as a programmer you must know all the modules, all the functions within in all the modules that Python has. Okay, it will be with time. With time, as you solve more problem. Okay, problem may arise that requires you to discover a new module or a new function inside a module. Okay, so with time you will get to know them one by one. Okay, so like the one we just did with the example we did a run int. Okay, so let's see if you can find run int. Right, there it is. We did a run int function using this random. Okay, so that is run int. Okay, we can check for other ones, right? We can check for other ones. So I'll bring down my terminal again. Can check for other ones. All right, so let's check for statistics. Let's see how many modules is there. Okay, statistics. Okay, and we execute this. So before that, I'll clear my terminal as usual. Clear. And let's see how many modules or how many methods this thing has. Sorry. Okay, so see for stats, let's bring it up again. Now for stats, we have counter, we have decimal, we have linear regression, right? We have statistics error, all those things, right? So the one we just did was the mean. We use the mean method. Okay, we use the mean method. Okay, this thing can even work without the DI, can work with our own custom modules as well. Okay, can work with our own custom modules as well. So we put in our custom modules there, new modules. Remember that we named it to new modules. So let's see what happens when we execute this. So if I'll clear my terminal again, clear my terminal and then execute this. Now you've seen all these things are not that they built in the catch doc file, all those things are not actually here in our modules. Okay, that's because our modules, because these are all inbuilt functions. Okay, once you insert this, in order for this to work, it requires all these dependencies. Okay, it's more like a dependencies. Okay, that actually helps us to that actually helps this file to be able to execute inside this other file. Okay, so now the only thing we have in our own modules is the greeting function and the variable of secret key. And if you can see, we use greetings, and then we have secret key. Okay, then we have secret key there. So see, that's how we use the dir to know how many method is there in a module. Okay, so you can apply it to as many modules. You can even try it with the time module. Okay, so let's bring in time. Let me see how many modules. Let's see how many modules. So import. So let's see how many function is there in the time module. Okay, we have time. So sorry, I think time. Okay, we have time. So I can come here and we check the time. And now you will clear this as usual, and then we'll execute this. And we see we have a lot of time. We have the TZ time, time zone time, and so on and so forth. All this method has ways in which you can use them. Okay, so now that for the dir. Okay, that's for the dir, right? So before I talk about this, I think I'm not okay. This one just came into my head now. Okay, see as a bonus. It just came into my head now. Sorry. So I'll just bring it in. There's a keyword called. There's a keyword called help. Okay, help. Okay, what does help do? Okay, help allows us, like, it make when it's a it makes Python to tell us how to use a particular modules. Okay, how you can use a particular module. So if we apply, okay, if we apply help to this, let's change the dir to help. Okay, so and see what happens. This one will give us, I'll clear this. This one will give us a long list, very long list. The help. So I'll clear this and run this again. And now you see we have a very long. The help is more like a documentation. Okay, so okay, like a description about a particular a particular module. Okay, now with that help, now we can say that time. If you execute help, if we run help function on a time module, it gives us like shall I say an introduction, or I say like a description of that module. Okay, it gives us a description of that module. Okay, and it says that this module is called the name of this module is the time module, and the description of how to use this module. Okay, we can run it again with statistics. Okay, so with statistics and see. So I'll go ahead and clear this. Okay. Okay. It's very long. Honestly, it's long. Like, it's long. I said that this will give us a very like it will, what it does, what the help does is, if you want to help on a module, okay, if you want help on a module, it will it will explain how each of the method within that module is being used. Okay, like in the time module, the previous one we had before now, in the time module, okay, we have the tm sec, and it shows how it's being used. We have the tm weekday, the w day, it shows how it's being used. Okay, so this description goes a long way. Okay, it goes a long way. So what I can do is I can kill the entire thing. Okay, can kill the entire thing. So now, how do I actually get a help for a particular module? Like, instead of getting help for the entire module, like for the entire module, how do I get help for a particular method in a module? Okay, what you can do is you can use the help. Okay, the help function. Okay, so now, instead of doing help, okay, so instead of doing the instead of running the help on a module name, we run it with a module dot the actual method you want to find help, like find help about. Okay, let's say we want to find help about, let's use random. Okay, let's use random. Let's use random module. Okay, I want help in the run int. Okay, I need help about this run int, right? Python will just give you description only about that run int. And then you see, and then it says help on rant int in module random. Okay, it shows you how it works. It takes argument A and B. Okay, so now it says the method of random instant, it returns an integer range of A and B. Okay, so whatever number you put here and here, it will return a random instance of that number, okay? So that you can check for the other one that we did, the choice that said that make use of list, okay? So you can, on your spare time, you can just sit down and go through most of these things, okay? Just type the help, the module, and then the method you want to learn about it, okay? So if I execute this again, tell okay that this other one is the choice in the module random. Now this one takes an argument as seq, okay, and then chooses a random element from a non-empty sequence in the sense that it will be a list, okay. That's what it means. It will be a list, okay. So that's what the help function does, okay. That's what the help function does, okay. So now another thing again, okay, before we call this a day, is importing from a model. What does this thing mean? Okay, it means you only import parts from a model using the from keyword, okay. So now what we've been doing ever since is we've been bringing the entire module to our code. This is not a good practice, okay. I won't say this is not a good practice, okay, because what's happening here is when Python gets to this line, Python brought all the codes from this page, from this our module down here. So if there was about 10,000 lines, this line alone here is about 10,000 lines, okay? And then same thing with random. If there are 100,000 lines of code in random modules, Python will bring in that 100,000 lines of code down here. So before it actually gets to point where we actually need it, okay, here it runs fast, okay. That safe is run fast, okay, but behind the scene, all right, this thing lacks this code. It makes this code slow, okay. So instead of doing this, right, let's say we wanted to use this greetings, okay, from our module. So instead of bringing the entire, like everything from here to our main file, we can say import module. We can now use sorry, what am I doing? We can now use the from keyword, okay. We can now use the from keyword, right? So now what we can say is we can now say from, all right, from modules, from this our module name, okay. From this our module name, we want to import, okay. Want to import. Now we can now specify which method do we want, which method. So now I said that I need the greetings method. So now I need the greetings method, okay. So now with this, I've just been able to bring, if this method was just 10 lines, I can have now been able to import just 10 lines instead of importing the entire 1,000 lines of code in that module, okay. So with this, I can go ahead and execute my greetings, okay. I can now say greetings, right, dot, remember this greetings takes in an argument of what, say hello, okay. Let's say hello there, okay. And then if I go ahead and execute this, I will clear the terminal again. And then I'll execute this. And then we have hello from our model, okay. Now remember that we have a variable here called keyword, okay. I cannot use that variable here. Now, if you notice, I don't need to put modules.greetings again, okay. I can just use it here, okay, straight. I can use it here straight up, like without involving the modules name, okay. So now if I come here and say x equals to this, our secret key, okay, want to grab this secret key. We want to grab this secret key. So if I paste this in here, okay. Okay, I think I didn't copy the S. If I paste this in here, okay, secret key, and I go ahead and print X, okay, we have an error saying that X is not defined, okay. So I'll go ahead and clear this and execute this. And then we have secret key not defined. That's because we implicitly, we explicitly called just the greeting function. So now if I need this secret key, I can just come here. I can call many functions in the same line, okay. So just put in secret key there, okay, and that works. Okay, it works as well. secret key. And so I'll just clear this and then run this again. And we have that hello from models and as well as our secret key there. Okay, this actually makes sense if we have a mini method here. Okay, so we can just, instead of bringing the entire method to the file to slow down our file, we can just explicitly call each of these method that we want to use. Okay, so let's assume in the random module, okay, the random module, we wanted that run int, just the run int, not the entire module. So what I can do is I can use the from keyword. Okay, I can use the from keyword from, okay, random module. Okay, from random module, import run int. Okay, that function was run int. Okay, and then I can go ahead, I'll cut this out for now. I can go ahead and set x equals to, so now that I've imported explicitly, I don't need to do random.run int again. Okay, can just go ahead and use the run int there. Okay, and then this one is, remember, it takes two arguments a and b, and that is from range 1 to range 10. Okay, and if I go ahead and print this, go ahead and print x and run this and save this, and I run this, we have to, okay, let me just grab my that. So see, that works, it still works. Okay, by execute, I have 9, by execute again, I have 10, by execute again, I have 5. I keep bringing random. So now with this, now I have been able to copy just that line of code. So let's assume this one has like 1,000 lines of code. So now I'll be able to bring in just 1,000 lines of code instead of bringing over 1,000,000 lines of code from one module. Okay, what happens when we start importing like 10 modules? That's about 10,000 times 10, and you see how that will slow our program. Okay, so this is actually a good method. Okay, so now, okay, so you might see something like this from models import asterisk. Okay, this is similar to what we did before. This asterisk means from this model import all the method there. Okay, all the method. All right, so but I want you to do that, so we can go ahead and keep it this way. Okay, so that is that for today's class. Question, yes, questions.
So you have four different models here.
All right, yes, I have 4 different models.
When you are trying to run this program that is on 6 and 7.
Okay, this one here. Okay.
Yes. Are you not asking Python to execute all these 4 modules?
Yes, Python will execute all these models, right? I was actually bringing them in for illustration, right? So if I'm not going to use them, there's no point of me bringing the term in, right? So I'll just take it off. Okay, I'll just take it off. So far the only models we've used there is the randoms from the random model. Even our models, we haven't even used it, so I'll still take it off. Okay, so now if I need just one, okay, so now that is how it should be, right? There's no point of
this,
okay.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah, okay. So this part of Python looks very interesting.
Yes.
But the question I have is, you write this program to be able to go and read a file that's on the Python part, right?
Yes, exactly.
Assuming that file was an Excel data sheet.
Okay.
Would this program also be able to, because I'm thinking that if you have a large data,
okay,
let's say a 10 by 10 matrix,
okay,
that is on your Excel sheet,
okay,
will you be able to use this to calculate the mean as you did?
No,
without copying it to
the file itself. Okay, I understand the question.
To a Python file.
Okay, now remember, before we started this class, we said that a module must be a Python file. Okay, and then it must contain function, classes, and variables. Okay, so in order for you to actually call a file a module file, it must contain a Python code. Okay, so you can actually use the Excel file there. Okay,
Excel file. Okay.
So any other question? Okay, so I believe today's class was very interesting and
Yeah, it was interesting.
simple as well. Okay, so I
But
think
Python simple. Is Python simple? It's never simple.
actually I think Python it's beginner friendly. Okay, it's beginner friendly. Just give it time. Okay, give it time and you get used to it. Okay, just keep practicing. Okay? Practicing every day, and over time you get acquainted with most of its syntax, and then you play around with them and tweak it to whatever liking you need. Okay, and then you see for 1, 2, 3 months from now you'll be a guru. Okay,
That would be miraculous.
it's it can actually happen. Okay, it can happen.
Okay.
So is there any other question before we call it a day or a night? Any other question?
Please, I want to ask which extension should I download so that that error that was shown will not show again in my VS Code.
Okay. Let me show you what you will do. Okay, when you download your VS Code newly, okay, what you want to do is you have to go to let's see where is that place. Let's see where that place. All right, you have to come to here. Yeah, here. When you click on that extension, right, you tap on Python. Okay, just tap in Python there, and okay, it will bring in Python, and then you install it. Okay, I have mine installed already, so you just click this install button and it will install that extension for you, as easy as that. Okay, it will install all the necessary extension needed for Python. Okay, all right, any other
But,
any other
but
any other
actually,
yes?
actually that Python that you installed, I've also installed it. But the problem is that when I ran the code, it still showed me the problem. I have installed Python and Pylance.
Okay. I think if it's still giving you a problem, you should consider changing the editor, okay, or probably uninstall it and install it again, okay, or it may change to like Sublime Text, okay, or you can still stick with the Python default ideally, okay. You can still stick with that, okay. And also, I will not forget to drop the slide for you. I'll drop the slide this evening, okay. So, any other question?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. So I believe there's no other question. So I think another task will come up for a new stage. Okay. You should try your best, and remember, always comment on your code. Submit Python file. Always submit a Python file if asked to submit a Python file. Don't submit don't submit JavaScript file. Don't submit Microsoft file. Please submit a Python file. Okay. And make sure comment on your code. Have a nice user-friendly code, and God will help us all, and we pass and we move. Okay, and we keep moving to the next stage. Okay. All right. So try your possible best. Practice, and we'll see again next week. Okay. Good night, guys.